If you're willing to help, you'll need to walk the corridors of time. And you'll need my sundial to do it. I built it so that an ally of mine could cheat death. I failed to help him, and his death remains my greatest regret.
They call me the greatest tyrant who ever lived.
What's going on with you? What are you talking about?
Destiny 2. Where to begin? For this, I've been with this game for a rather long time. Since 2014. Vanilla Destiny, I've been there. And I've made it all the way through till now in Season of Arrivals of Destiny 2. Since then, I would rather want to complain and focus on Destiny 2's issues and core problems which for me affect my experience in this game. I will try and put these down as certain points in the video. I'm trying to mark it out because it's one of the first times I've ever done this kind of stuff. But yeah, I want to see how it goes. So first point. At first, it may seem like there's nothing wrong with this cutscene, but what annoys me the most, in most story campaign type of cutscenes, they always run on 30 FPS. Console players may not pick up on them because they always have been capped in gameplay as well at 30 to 45 FPS. But what really upsets me, I can't look at things at 30 FPS because now I've become used to things over 60 frames a second with 1080p graphics. And what disappoints me in this, it just has no option where you can up the FPS. It's just capped constantly at 30 FPS, which kind of messes up the immersion for me, and it really sucks and brings the entire point to this kind of content to me quite down, because cutscenes are, for me, in general, either there's like some action or dialogue and some lore I like to get into, because this is why I generally like this game, is because of the lore. It just sucks and ruins the immersion, so that's one core reason that is one of the reasons that it just makes the game little bit bad. which they could improve on next season or the next DLC, for example, Beyond Light. I have pre-ordered it, and I've got rather high expectations, because with Shadowkeep, yeah, they had decent cutscenes and lore, but they missed a rather big opportunity. You know, they could have brought Crota something back. You know, they could have, you know, made it a bit more longer to play instead of 2 hours. You can play through it and have everything done. It's just, it sucks, and there's like hardly any kind of, well, most cutscenes just had Zavala in it, just standing there doing nothing. And you know, that's pretty much the majority of the vanilla Destiny 2 campaign. There's just people standing there talking, no action, no nothing. They did improve it with Forsaken and Shadowkeep, but Shadowkeep again went back to its roots from vanilla D2 and went capped it at 30 FPS again. Alright, on to the next point and issues I have with Destiny. Point 2. Second point. Cade 6. Well, what is there to say about Cade 6? Since the vanilla of Destiny, I think personally he has been carrying this franchise, because he was one of the most interesting characters from the start and get-go. Every cutscene was in, I actually bothered watching, even though they were standing around. But unlike Zavala, Cade's jokes were always so bad you had to either chuckle at them, and it just couldn't be helped. They were just really cheesy, but still you couldn't help but chuckle. K6 as a character, you know, he was a very well done character, I think personally, and I do not understand a single reason why they had to kill him off in Forsaken. And devs have also recently confirmed he will not be coming back to the franchise anytime soon. As for, you know, Cade 6, when he was in D2, you know, filling the D2 was already very, 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 very boring as it was. And Cade made it more bearable. It's like when your mother makes you a meal and it's just, it tastes horrible, but you know, with a bit of mayonnaise or a bit of salt and pepper, it's bearable. And Cade, unfortunately, is the salt and pepper of this franchise. There's nothing, you know, much you can say about him, but, you know, it was very nice having him in the fucking game, if I'm being honest. And I do not understand Bungie. Why kill him off? You know, yes, it was an interesting arc, but they should have made it somehow, some way that you can bring him back through the story. But, unfortunately, that's not the case. As if I don't see Cade being replaced anytime soon, because the Hunter Vanguard has an empty seat, and naturally Hunter classes in general are more like outlaws. They don't like being in one place like Titans or Warlocks. They don't like to sit down and study or be like a Titan, be like a wall of the city. It's not the same, and I don't think Cade 6 will be able to be replaced in this franchise. You have, you know, things like Saint 14, the big robot Titan, who's like, you know, the strongest Titan of all things, who came in Season of the Dawning, which I made the intro about. He's funny, but he's not around like Cade was. He's not within the strikes with you. He's not so around. He's not there. He's just, you know, if you have to do like Trials of the Cyrus, yeah, you get those. But, you know, things like the Drifter, yeah, they made a similar attempt with his character, but it's just not the same as Cade 6. And if I'm being well and truly honest here, it's just, I don't think they'll ever be able to bring back a character like that. And yeah, no, that's a part of the reason why I think Shadowkeep also had a bit of a downfall, because, you know, Cade was missing. You know, all the shitty, rubbish jokes were missing too. And it just made it very boring, kind of like this video, but as of the run, you know, this part wasn't scripted at all, just to make that clear. And, yeah, this was just like a personal opinion of mine, thinking of why they had to kill off Cade, and it's just, you know, I think it was a very bad lapse in judgment that they did that. And, yeah, Old Resolve, we got that bitch. We killed him. Killed the little meatball he was inside. And yeah, enough with the runt. I shall now go on the next point, and rest in peace, Cade. We'll always miss your rubbish jokes. Right, next point. Point 3. OP weapons and exotics. Well, exotics in general have had a very bad history of being OP as soon as they have been introduced for the very first time. But, say for example the Shads of Gallahorn, which are on screen at the moment, these were really OP, and as you can see on screen now, this is how good they were in their prime before they got nerfed. And things like that have been constantly coming back up and again and again and again in the game. Things like, what's the other gun called? Dawn, Last Word. Pretty much most hand cannons have all received a nerf. And I think pretty much auto rifles have been getting a buff, and same with pulse rifles this season. They have been getting buffs. Say for example, Gnoan Hunger, if you have all the god tier rolls, the gun is pretty much unbeatable. It's good in close range and good in mid range. It's just fantastic. Biggest problem though is, as soon as they buff a certain gun, they eventually will, or inevitably will, nerf it back. Or nerf it somehow differently, because that's what annoys me about the Destiny 2 universe. It's just constantly tweaking on other weapons when they should be concentrating on things like exotic quest lines in the game, which will be my next point in the game, where they just constantly tweak small armor exotics or anything which are OP from the get-go. And in D1 you had OP exotics which you had to grind for, and they usually kept the exotics OP, so you have other OP exotics to counter them, and that was, the kind of bread and butter of D1. But in D2 they don't really have that in Crucible and PvP, and in PvE is the same. As you saw in the clip earlier, there was a constant blade barrage over and over and over again. And another super was recently OP with another exotic. It was a chest piece, and you could use spectral blades pretty much all round, or actually in any game mode, in PvE, PvP, you name it. You could run around with spectral blades constantly running, as soon as you can just refresh it by doing left click and doing the other ability it has. Constantly refreshing your energy bar, and you can keep on fighting, and that was before its nerf, and it always had been something like that in Forsaken. And I didn't mind having the OP stuff in there, but the problem was in Crucible, everybody eventually picks up on it and it has a runt about it, and then it'll be nerfed. And that's pretty much inevitable with all weapons and exotics in this game, unfortunately. And what I wish for Bungie to do in future is to actually test out these exotics before they bring it, even though I don't doubt that they do test them out, but they don't test them out like as in the players do. They exploit it. They use every single little thing as an advantage. It's fun to do so, but it's not fun for the people on the receiving end, and then it ruins the experience for other people. So yeah, that's the thing with the exotics that I disagree with, and same with weapons. The Gnoan Hunger recently is one of the most OP auto rifles, and I do see a potential nerf coming for it in the future as well. Same with the new exotic trace rifle, which is, as of recent, came out last week, which turns enemies, so say for example you kill someone, into orbs, and you could just go around smacking people and you can get a triple kill. It's like a grenade, but it is a guaranteed kill every time. So yeah. But as of exotics and OP weapons, I would just say, do not nerf them. Just make other exotics and other legendaries to counter these kind of powerful exotics, so you have a fair balance of things to use against them exotics. But that's enough of a run for the exotic and weapons point. Now I'll go on to my next point. Point 4, baby. Glitches. Glitches. What's to say about glitches? Glitches in general have been quite a big problem in Destiny, and they've only as of recent have been fixing some minor glitches, like for example sleeper nodes. They were, well, my friends had an issue. I haven't experienced this for myself, but two of my friends pick up Destiny 2 for free recently on Steam and tried the game out, and they tried to follow the exotic quest line for the sleeper stimulant, and for some reason their nodes did not appear because of a glitch in the game, because no one knew what this glitch was, but it was generally horrible. But that's just one of many examples of how many glitches are in the game. For example, areas where you can jump over the map and skip entire encounters and raids as well, and they've been in there for 2 years, and then you get people who speedrun them and think they're all cool, and then, you know, now they're just getting nerfed because you've got this subsection of the community in Destiny 2 where they love speedrunning. They're called speedrunners, and they use every single glitch, like anything, that's their advantage, to speedrun it as quick as possible. And yeah, things with glitches like that have been in the game for 2 years now, and only now they actually bother to fix these issues, and I'm not surprised that free-to-play players had this issue for a few months now since they've joined, and I wouldn't be surprised that they end up being deterred from the game and not like to return, because there's always some sort of issue for them to encounter again. And I would feel the same, but personally I've been rather a lucky guardian, so to speak, because I had no glitches so far through any exotic quest lines I've ever experienced. But I can feel the pain and anger from other players who have had these issues, and you can just see in the forums that people like me don't have any problems with the game but still be hostile towards the other people in the community who have that problem. I don't know if it's a Wi-Fi thing or a PC thing or any kind of console thing. Every you know, system has its glitches, but if Destiny 2 was rather, well, Bungie more correctly was a bit lazy in picking it up, but you know, that's all I've got to rant about. But yeah, on to the last part, part 5. Destiny 2 final opinions. Well, the game, you know, it had its up and downs, but for the majority of the time, this game for me is a love to hate game. Generally all over, I accept its glitches, other people may not, but overall, all these things I've mentioned in the previous points, you know, if Bungie's able to correct them and make them better, and make the game better as it is, and actually start paying attention to forums, as they said they would, I would be very, very amused, and be probably paying for more DLC, and maybe buying more expansions as they go. But as of now, I have bought Beyond Light, or pre-ordered it, and I'm generally now just in the void of thinking, is it going to be a whole other DLC of glitches, or is it going to be pointless like Shadowkeep? All these questions are there floating around in the head and mindset of mine, but if I'm being honest, overall happy and not happy with the game. And yeah, if you like this type of video, or type of, you know, point evidence and stuff like that, of kind of video like where I just run and, you know, talk about games and what their flaws are and how I prefer them to, you know, overcome these kind of things, please hit me up in the comments saying, yo, you'll want this kind of shit, or, you know, generally all around, I'm happy making these, or should I stick to my rubbish, shitty memes edits because my voice is annoying? Because at the moment, I am not sure. But yeah, this has been the German unit. See you guys later. Super cute. God bless you little goons.
Nice poncho.
I got more intense music, boys.
Oh my.
What's going on?
No.
Eddie's so guys on this play.
Shit, I keep getting boosted up the map.
About that one.
How'd they get me?
Hold on, let me shoot around this bitch.
Nice, get me quick.
Fast fight, by the way. Where are you?
Toby, I hear.
No, we're up in 2 bad.
Fuck you.
Yo, plan XP, boys. Can we do the command mission now, please? No, we all do the command mission.
Wait, what, the Leviathan?
Us. Yeah, I think we should do it.
The end.
Excuse me, what?
This could be us. So back to what I was saying. Could be us.